Hello there. Welcome back to the Alpha Tauri speedrun. We're going to continue where we left off. We're about to enter Monaco. It's going rather well this second season of ours. We're leading the championship by almost 80 points over Red Bull. Rick is handily in first. We have Tsunoda in third, just a couple of points behind Verstappen. And generally, I'd say things are going pretty well with our car as well. We have a car that is basically first in everything but good air, top speed. And generally, I'd say we're looking pretty good here. We do probably need to put some more effort into our cooling, honestly. Dirty air tolerance would probably be nice to get up to. But at the same time, it doesn't seem to be that important to have the dirty air tolerance if you just are quick to begin with. And it seems to also not be necessary to have top speed. So, honestly, I'd say currently the cornering and maybe the DRS effectiveness having these high to help you get overtakes just by pure speed is kind of more important than focusing on your dirty air, more important than focusing on your top speed. So that is what we're going to do with our car. Now, Monaco is going to be kind of an interesting one here, honestly, because we have that poor dirty air, and you kind of need to follow close to actually get by. But it should be a good example of why. Again, I think you don't really need to focus on those. Also, Tsunoda had pretty decent growth so far. We're up to 84 on him. He will have less control this weekend. I can actually check it. So as you can see here, this control stat is usually a little bit higher than this, around 74. So he's getting hit with the sponsorship this weekend. We need to be a little bit more careful with him. So actually you can check which weekends he does get hit by it by just checking the driver stats before. And again, what I'm talking about is what I'm talking about there with the sponsorship is this one. Race weekend driver appearance, control performance rating will be reduced. As you can see, it's absolutely horrible. Do not pick this one. So for Tsunoda, we're going to have to probably take less risks with him. But we'll still do our best here. Let's go to race weekend, get everything set up, and we'll see how we do before the race. Let's see what we qualify. Qualifying is over, and lucky for us, Tsunoda had a pretty massive run at the end at 9.6, which is a lot quicker than, well, everyone else. Rick, on the other hand, was running 10.3s, 10.2, improved the entire way. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough for anything better than 5th. So we'll have a little bit of work ahead of us there, but again, if he'd done about a 10th better, he'd be 3rd, so he's not that far off. But luckily, with Tsunoda being that far ahead, potentially we could push him here to the point where he just runs alone up front. And that should hopefully lower any problems that we will be getting from his lower to control this this race, I would hope. But at the same time, it is kind of a difficult one to decide on. Because, well, I don't know why you have a random... Just revert to your highest satisfaction then. There we go. Don't know why you didn't have a car setup there. Hopefully your confidence doesn't take it. But yeah, as I said, we probably do want to run him a tad bit aggressive here. Probably start him on the mediums. Go 2 soft stints towards the end. Because he should, as I said, be able to get away up front. And that is going to be the player to just push him quite aggressively. And have him kind of try and run away. But even that might be a little bit too hopeful there. So we'll do aggressive. For the full stints here, we'll do 2-stopper like we usually do. And this should work out just fine for us. Because the main problem on this track is that you're going to get stuck behind the other slower cars. So if we can make, you know, a little bit of gap on the first medium stint, will be good. For Rick, I think we are going to do, honestly, the same thing. It's going to be a little bit harder to overtake on those mediums in the beginning. But he does have higher smoothness. So we just have a little bit more wiggle room there to switch him over to attack to get by. And I think this should work. But again, if we need to, we'll just run them a little bit more carefully. Well, tune them down a little bit on the aggressiveness. Save them a little bit if we need to. We could also potentially go onto the HarrySir, use attack in addition with a soft stint maybe. How would that look? Just have a quick look. Would potentially be a lot quicker. 38 blank versus 38.11. So that could also work, that we go very aggressive on the hard stint, we have a medium stint, then we have a soft stint. It is potentially quicker. let's try that. Now, the thing with this hard stint is that we are, of course, not going to be able to properly overtake too many people. But we are going to be running attack, which is going to give us a little bit more extra time. And what I'm thinking is that we're actually going to do the same for Tsunoda, which is going to be a little bit more risky since he is, well, going to have lower control this weekend. But even then, I think it might be worth it. Do it like this. That way we have a little bit of wiggle room. 38 blank. And we're going to be trying to start on the hards there. It's kind of an experiment, honestly, because I don't think this will work out too well. In terms of getting away on those hards, Tsunoda might actually get in trouble doing this. But it should allow him to run full attack for the entire hard stint here. And in theory, it should save him a little bit of time. We can also go attack on the medium stint for at least Rick here. So it's a little bit of what's it called, experimenting. But at the same time, I think it might be really worth it to try this to see how it pays off for us.
We're here and the streets are abuzz at the Monaco.
Let's see if Tsunoda comes out safe.
And away we go.
Looks like Tsunoda got away well. Looks like Rick also kinda got away well. Is Verstappen gonna come back at us? Nope. Very good. And on this track, you can probably put on always defend, but that would still be a little bit of a risk. But with Tsunoda up front, could definitely work. Same here for Rick. And again, what I usually would do if Tsunoda was further back in the order, we'd probably put down the. Honestly, we're gonna keep it at neutral. We're gonna not take any risks here because he will very quickly find the wall. As you can see, Rick is getting kind of left behind. And we have the two Ferraris launching an attack. But generally, as I said, it is harder to overtake. Everyone else is on the medium tire, so we're not that far behind in terms of the tire. And right now, Tsunoda is actually kind of pulling away. So if he can keep that up for one more lap, he should get himself out of DRS from the two Ferraris. And Rick kind of working as a blocker is gonna help us out a ton as well, so that is funny. But we'll tune down the ERS before we use everything. Just barely outside of the ERS now for Tsunoda. Looks like Science did get it a little bit though, so yeah, we'll have to see how we do. But we are going to be sticking with the full attack for the first stint. We are going to be tuning down the fuel usage once it hits about 1 kilogram. And we'll see where we're at around the first stint, or until one of our boys bins it into the wall. So far, it has actually gone incredibly well. Tsunoda is straight up flying up front. He's already a good 20 seconds ahead of the Red Bulls and Rick. Rick has unfortunately been overtaken by Verstappen, but it is what it is. The hards are going to be a tad bit slower. I'm just a bit surprised that Tsunoda is this much quicker than Rick, so we'll have to see what we do with him. I think it's fine to run him as he is at the moment, but even then, it's going to be a bit difficult to get him probably up in the podium places. The Ferrari is also flying, but once we go into the softer compounds, we are of course going to get a lot quicker. And that medium stint looks like we can go full attack. Both Tsunoda and Rick have no real degradation issues here. So probably stretching these to lap 32 could definitely be beneficial for us in terms of, pushing this medium stint to full attack, giving us that little bit of extra edge for us. But right now, as I said, Tsunoda is flying. He's half a minute already at lap 25. Ahead of the Red Bulls, meaning that on the hard tire, he has been gaining over a second per lap to the Red Bulls, and that is just doesn't make sense. He's flying out there. He's just straight up flying. So William as is, we put the overtake aggression to low. I don't know if that helped with speeding him up, but if so, that would be kind of hilarious. That would actually be kind of broken. Rick has lost out another position here to Alonso, but again, once we get onto the better tire, I think we'll be fine. So we'll speed things along a little bit here. We are going to be pitting fairly soon, let's be honest. But what we are seeing there is that, as I said, Tsunoda being a good second or so quicker than Rick on the same tire. So I don't know if I put the wrong components on Rick somehow, or if this is just, a confidence issue. But they're both running very high. They've both been running pretty close to each other. And Rick has been losing a little bit because, again, he's been overtaken twice. So what I'm thinking here is that we are gonna probably Go ahead and put Rick 2 on low overtake aggression and see if that actually just speeds him up. Last lap 17.3, bit of a slow one again. But Tsunoda, as long as he's flying as he is right now, there's no need to pit him. 16.8, so yeah. I don't think it's going to help for Rick here. It could also be because we have put on always defend, that he's always been, you know, being aggressive with defending. That slowed him down. And that is probably it, honestly. Because of the always defend order, he's been maybe saving a little bit more energy than he needed to. And that might have slowed him down a tad. We'll see, though. Turned off always defend, and he jumps up to 15.2. So on Monaco, apparently, if you use always defend, you can really slow down the grid behind you, by the looks of things. And that is kind of interesting, then. Yeah, and he's running now equal to Tsunoda. That always defend order was actually extremely detrimental. Look at that. Rick lost 41 seconds to Tsunoda by using always defend. So yeah, that is that's insane, honestly. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to go back to when I'm going to finish this race as it is, but I'll be making a snapshot of this this save, and well, another one, and I'll be testing this because if always defend is this harsh on you, particularly in Monaco, like let's face it, Rick has lost 41 seconds over the course of a stint, and if we have a look at his lap times, he's usually been running in front of the car in front behind him for the most part. So let's have a look at Rick's lap times from the start of this race. He's running 16.5s for the most part, 16.4, 16.3, 16.5s. Yeah, for the most part here. He starts to slow down around here, right before he loses out to his place to, he loses a place here to Verstappen. So let's see the difference in the first 13 laps there. Tsunoda is running 14.1 as his first lap, 14.8, 15 blanks maybe. 14.8 to 15 blanks is the main one for the first 13 or so laps. So Rick's already running over a second and a half slower during those first 10 laps by going aggressive on defending. So as I said, we'll be finishing this race, but I'll be taking a bit of a, as I said, I'll be taking, going back to before this race, and I'll be taking a bit of a look at it, because if always defend is that harsh here, then we might need to, again, be a little bit more careful, because 40 seconds by 30 laps, well, losing a second and a half per lap by defending is going to be massive. So, yeah. I know that I got a bit off on tangent here, but it's interesting information. So, as I said, I'll be testing it at one point in the future. That does seem kind of mad. So, let's continue this. We are going to be pitting now. I'm thinking that we get Tsunoda in first. And again, he has been running out front. Pretty happy-go-lucky here. Sainz and Leclerc should also be pitting very soon. We'll be pitting Rick also after this lap. And they have made enough headway on these tires that we can just go ahead and put them on full attack. And Tsunoda comes out in first here. And Leclerc actually has gained a little bit here now. He's just 2 seconds behind. So yeah, this could be a bit interesting. We have a pit stop error here for Rick that slows him down a bit as well. That's not going to be good. But yeah, this is going to be interesting to see just how much that command actually slowed him down. But we'll be working with Rick now. We'll be trying to make him, climb back up to where he was. And we'll see if we can get him into the top 3 now, maybe, that we have kind of turned off his handicap. But it can definitely work for you if you, say, have one driver do always defend here and slow down the rest of the pack. It has actually worked wonderfully from that perspective. But at the same time, it's kind of a weird one, I think, that it drops you so much in terms of lap time. So as said, we'll experiment a little bit, but for now we'll finish this race.
Stay positive.
We have a virtual safety car. I don't know exactly what happened yet. Norris seems to be out, so he crashes even when it's not on my stream.
Oh dear, a crash. There's been a crash.
And it's on turn 1, so
Here we go, heading into turn 1.
that was very close to him taking out the Merc there as well. But yeah, Rick has been flying a little bit more now. He's up into 4th. Everyone else has pitted. They're on the hard tires. So as long as we can get Rick up and running here, I think he will have no problem, maybe even catching Sainz down the line. So it's looking promising. But it's still going to be a bit of a struggle here. But again, it's kind of interesting to me that always defend slows him down that much. So we might have a look at how, you know, how it affects us on other tracks. Rick and Tsunoda ain't that far away from each other in terms of pace stats, so they're kind of good to use as evaluation tools. So yeah, we'll have a look at that as we go. But for now though, we'll try and get, as I said, Rick as high as possible. Before we go into that stop stint around lap 56, 57, as you can see, we actually kept Tsunoda out long enough that he forgot what we were supposed to do. So we'll have to alternate that strategy of his. But yeah, as long as we can get Rick by Paris here, start chasing down those Ferraris, I think we can, as I said, potentially get him on the podium. So we'll do our best and we'll see where we end up. We're getting very close here now to our final pit stop, and as you can see, we have kept these tires more alive than we kind of maybe expected. Rick has been catching up on Sainz and Leclerc. He's running 14.2s. Sainz is now running a little bit quicker, probably pushing. He might do his own little pit stop here in a second. He probably is going to do. As you can see, Leclerc has actually gone onto the softs. So we're just gonna copy that with Tsunoda here. We're gonna put him on the softs as well. We're gonna go aggressive though on the strategy here. Don't really need to push. We have 35 seconds on Leclerc. Should have a good 15 seconds by the time we're done pitting. And with Rick here too, we're gonna get him in and we're gonna run very aggressive on the soft stint. And I would expect Sainz here to pit as well because he is running quite aggressively. Maybe not. Maybe he'll pit next lap. But this is looking currently incredibly promising. And Rick here actually managed to... Oh, he did not manage to sneak out ahead of Alonso. So we'll have to get by Alonso. We'll have to get by Verstappen. And then we can really start chasing down the cars in front. But yeah, it is looking kind of promising maybe that we'll be able to catch Sainz. We'll see. Rick has not had the best best luck today, honestly, with the always defend, but he has been having a lot better lap times after we turned that setting off. So although it lowers risk, it actually lowered his race pace by a good 1.5 seconds, as I said, on this track. So did not pay off at all. We're gonna harvest it for a lap, then go attack for Verstappen, and then we'll try, as I said, hunt down Sainz maybe for Rick. It's gonna be 20 seconds though. I think that might be a little bit too much to ask, but we'll do our best. There we go. Verstappen has been got. Tsunoda is running 16 seconds ahead of Leclerc. Now what we could do here, if we're really cheeky, is run him a full attack. Try and set fastest lap. And Tsunoda actually has a very good opportunity now to do just that. Try and set fastest lap while the tires are still kind of healthy. So we're going to do that. We're going to push full attack this lap. Try and snatch that fastest lap. And if we need to, maybe get a gap. But we can actually do that before the end of the race as well. We'll see. We'll see what this fastest lap here from Tsunoda actually ends up being. Because you usually have that as your sponsor goals. I forgot to check this weekend. So that's on me. 12 blank, and that was not enough. Oh, there we go. 10.2. That should be good enough for the fastest lap here, so we'll just tune him down a little bit. There's no need for us to, you know, push too aggressively here now. We have a good 20-second lead. 13 laps to go. I think we can take a little bit more chill. But as I said, with Rick, we're going to go very aggressively, see if we can close down to Sainz before the end of this race. Rick has, impressively enough, actually caught up with Sainz here. He's been gaining over 2 seconds a lap for the last few ones. So with that in mind, he is basically ready to, you know, kind of charge, but we'll recharge him for a lap. That won't go on the attack. We could actually probably try with the little energy we have here now.
Reminder on the battery.
It was not enough, so we'll just recharge him for a lap, then we'll get the attack done. But yeah, we have caught up to Sainz here, and as I said, the main reason why he lost out to Tsunoda is actually that defend command, interestingly enough. Yeah, we'll recharge. One more lap here now, and then we'll give him the push command. And we'll give him the deploy command the entire way. We should keep him close and potentially ready to pounce right now. There we go. Very simple and straightforward. We'll allow him to just push to the end here, I think. Tune him down to standard maybe now that they've gotten the gap. And we'll keep an eye on him. But generally, I think this is the end of the race here. We'll see where we actually end up. 3 laps to go. Currently on the last lap, as you can see, Rick has pulled out a good 7 seconds there to Sainz, which is pretty insane, honestly. But science is some very old hard, so it's not really that insane. But yeah, so Noda pulled out a pretty decent gap there. Rick got that gap down to, well,
And here we've got a yellow flag.
so Noda lapped almost the entire field. Oh, and we had a crash at the end. Didn't get to see it.
Yuki Tsunoda.
But Tsunoda actually came through that safely, even with the lower control rating. We got Danny on the podium. Honestly, good race all around. 1:10.2. Also, I want to check if that is the quickest one. But yeah, as I said, the fact that the lap times at the beginning here was just so different when they were basically running identical strategies, but just Danny Rick doing the defending here, slowing him down by, as we could see, 1.5 seconds here at Monaco, at the very least compared to Tsunoda, is pretty insane, honestly. That is pretty insane. And the fastest lap here, I say that one is pretty good too, 10.2. And I'd just like to see what is the quickest one. We have now set a new lap record at Monaco as well, so it's a good day. With that in mind, the driver championship here, Tsunoda moves up to second, ahead of Verstappen. Rick's still in the lead. Might have a fight with these two towards the end. We'll see. Red Bulls third and fourth, Stroll fifth. For the Ferrari 6th and 7th, then Alonso, and then we have the Mercs. Constructors then, Ferrari overtakes Aston Martin, Alpine overtakes McLaren. And generally, not much really going on, honestly. We do probably going to see if Merc can actually kind of make a comeback. They had some potential this race, didn't really work out for them though. And we beat an 18:50 pit stop, so honestly, pretty good. Although, as I said, we did have that delayed pit stop from Rick that probably slowed him down even more. But after that first stint, where he was a good 30 to 40 seconds behind, there's no real coming back for him. So again, use that carefully at Monaco. And we did have the parcel up here, gave us a little bit extra money. And generally, it's looking good. But I do believe that we might need to start using some of this extra money of ours, because currently we are not really spending a lot of it. Spawn Director leveled up. Let's see if it hit the aptitude stat, because that would be amazing. I believe it did. So with that in mind, we can actually go ahead here and find our pit crew, have a look at development, and maybe move this over to gym training. The funny thing is, it seems like when your Spawn Director actually levels up, he slows down your current pit stop. Like your current pit stop time goes down. Well, goes up, sorry. So it takes longer. And then you have to do some gym training to catch up with that to begin with. But we have already. There we go. That's a little bit better. Chance of mistake going up, though, is honestly something we can live with. And the estimated pit stop time will be a little bit shorter come well, our next race. But we have Spain first. I hope that I did that correctly. I was kind of working on autopilot there. Let's just double check that I actually put in the training that I wanted to. And it is in that. Good. Very good. As I said, we had a lot of money, so I assume I already used it. Kind of overslept today, so I'm a little bit woozy. But yeah, we did suspension sim, we did the factory. We probably should try and get this max as soon as possible, but at the same time, we're just waiting so that we can skip a refurbish by maxing once it gets a little bit lower. So the science center is something that we could also probably invest in, honestly. That should be perfectly fine. And we're probably going to do that once we can, but it's also going to be one of those that are quite expensive. And I kind of talked about that in the recent guide, but suspension sim, car part 10 center, these two are pretty much a no-brainer to upgrade because their upkeep is so low. Like, if we upgrade this to maximum, 167,000. Over the course of a year, that's going to be about 2 million to your cost cap. And already, the CFD sim is 91. That's a million. And that's a level 1. It's going to be basically almost the same as, well, it's going to be a little bit less, but level 2, it's already going to be almost the same as the car part test center. And remember, these two you can only use for 2. You can only use these 6 times over the course of a year. And for research, they're actually kind of bugged because, well, they revert to level 1. So there's no real point in upgrading these above level 1. It just takes so much out of your cost cap. A max wind tunnel and max CFD sim will take about 13 to 40 million off your cost cap. So you can imagine just how costly they are. And if you are using them for research, it won't matter if they're level 5 or level 1. They'll still have the exact same effect. There's no need to actually upgrade these further than, as I said, level 1, if you can, honestly. Now, the Science Center is going to be expensive. It's going to cost you, you know, again, a decent chunk of your cost cap. But it is actually kind of worth it because it does give you extra stats for every part. And honestly, that is fine. You can definitely upgrade this one as you see fit, but I'm going to prioritize suspension and car pass test center. And I also recommend Factory 3 because it just gives you a lot more flexibility. And the upkeep isn't really that much different, so that is fine. I don't know if I've said this, but Team Hub and Scouting Department don't count for your cost cap, so these two are good. This one does. And on the operation facilities here, actually your weather center counts for your cost cap. And again, we're kind of letting it deteriorate here because I want to test how less effective a minimum forecast accuracy is compared to the maximum. But right now, it seems to still be really, really doable to have this thing running at level 1. Refurbish it every now and again, so I wouldn't be too worried. Other than that, I don't think that we have a need. Excuse me. Other than that, I don't think we have a particular need right now to upgrade anything else. So we're just going to leave it where it is. We'll also Red Wing after the Monaco race. We'll take that, honestly. We'll replace that. But yeah, I'll be testing a little bit towards the Always Defend command there because, as I said, it really, really slowed Danny Rick down. Danny lost 1.5 seconds to Tsunoda, running the exact same strategy, with the only thing being different that he was basically running Always Defend, and Tsunoda was always running low overtake aggression. But again, he didn't have any of the overtakes to do, so shouldn't have any effect. But who knows? It would be kind of funny if it was a weird bug where low overtake aggression allows you to just run away when you're running out front. So we're kind of looking okay, honestly. We'll get through Spain here. Pass the lap should be doable. Reach Q2 should also be doable. I think we can say both drivers in top 8 should be doable as well. A little bit passive, but again, pretty much very doable. Let's head to Spain and see how it goes. Pretty good qualifying again. 1-2 this time around. Rick made up for that last one. 300s ahead of Verstappen, but we'll take that. Hulkenberg with a bit of a penalty, but he made it into Q3. So yeah, looking interesting. Alpha's still not having a good time. The other half's not having a good time. Merck's still not, having a good time at all. But we'll see how this goes. For Merck, well, in terms of Merck, we did steal some of their staff, so it's understandable. We're also going to have light rain, which is going to be starting fairly early, I believe. And as you can see, this should be into territory the entire way, with potentially a couple of dry laps towards the end if we get a safety car or a red flag. We're going to probably get more of these. But remember, we have a weather center now that is absolutely trashed. It's at 36% accuracy. So with that in mind, I think we are going to be doing a kind of a passive strategy here. We could actually start on the hards and go full attack the entire time until we get to the wets. And that should give us a little bit more flexibility in terms of when we get to the wets. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Doing medium could probably have been a little bit better, but I'm just going to be a little bit lazy here. We're going to go for the hards to start with. We're going to go full attack. And if we see the rain kind of taking longer to get here, we're going to go ahead and just, ease up on that. It could backfire horribly, of course, but at the same time, I think we will be fine. Hopefully, though, we can make something good out of this. I think it should be okay. I don't think Tsunoda had a drop for this one, but I did forget to check. So hopefully he doesn't have it back to back. And we do see we have some soft medium runners behind us. There is actually another team that has chosen hards, and it is Leclerc and it's Show. But generally, we are the only mad lads that have done this.
Okay.
And the Red Bull there is going in for attack. Is he going to be able to keep that going? We are running 3 wide. But yeah, the Red Bull there is going to get that attack done. Which isn't that surprising. He is running soft tires, so he'll have a bit of an advantage now early in the race. But I think it will be fine, honestly. We could, of course, have gone softs ourselves, but then we wouldn't have been able to attack, for sure. But we'll do our best out of this. Paris gains a massive amount of time. So should probably have checked this before. But yeah, he's about 8/10 quicker than us, but with degradation, it's going to just take... Yeah, we should have done mediums probably. But it's going to just take a bit 5 10 laps here. Again, rain is going to come around lap 20, I believe. 15. Going to be pitting it probably around lap 20. So it's still not bad. And potentially with the degradation periods it's going to happen, he might need to pit before the rain. Alonso for sure is going to have to pit before the rain. Unless he's going to, you know, kill those tires. So it's looking interesting for sure here.
No DRS available, no DRS available.
And we'll see how this goes. But for now, we're just going to kind of speed along here. Just sit where we are. Because we're going to have rain, though, we are going to be using a little bit more of our fuel. Probably up to 2 kilos. But for now, though, we're just going to let things kind of roll. So we'll see where we're at in, well, about 10-15 laps time when we start getting rain. But we had multiple cars crash.
There's a yellow flag.
Did Rick just touch Tsunoda? That is what I assume happened.
Second corner. Not a lot of wiggle room here. And the impact on the
And just bullied his way past there. We are going to do this then, just to be on the safe side. Because both of them are now very low in confidence. It's actually impressive that it didn't get any damage there to nothing really. We didn't really damage the tires either. Well, not too much anyways. But yeah, that was not good. That could have been really bad. So might want to keep our boys, try and set them up on different strategies to keep them away from each other. That might actually be a really important thing to do this year. And we're going to be starting experimenting with that going forwards. We're going to be putting them deliberately on different strategies so they don't have the chance to take each other out, basically. For now, though, we are going to be speeding our setup to the rainy period, and we'll see what we actually end up with here in terms of track position, because we are losing out a little bit. Getting the hard here was probably not the best choice. Rain has begun. As you can see, it's slowly getting up here. We've actually been kind of doing well here. Tsunoda's running with Verstappen. We have burned a little bit more of our tires than expected. Leclerc's running with Rick. Of course, Rick is going to have to take a penalty when he actually does pit. Paris, though, after his pit stop, is a good 20 seconds behind us. So this is kind of an interesting one. Now, the rain did come a little bit later than anticipated, but that is fine. That's kind of what we expected. But it might go up slow enough here that we are going to be a little bit in trouble with the amount of tire weather we have. So we're going to have to see exactly when we can jump onto, you know, a better tire, because as you can see here, it is going up painfully slow. So we're probably going to have to wait until we get this rain in about 4 minutes. So the tires are going to struggle a little bit, but with Leclerc, with Verstappen, we probably should be able to just almost hold on. Looks like Rick is still going to have a bad time, same with Tsunoda. But it is on us there, because again, we pushed a little bit too hard. The weather center didn't really help us out here, and it's going to take a little bit longer before we get into the proper wet here. So for Rick, it could probably be an idea to just get him in now and have him run those inters a little bit more careful. And I think we're going to do that, because again, he does have a penalty to serve. And honestly, we might try the same here for Tsunoda. It's either that or we run him another lap here, because now we are going to start losing a lot of time compared to the cars around us. But I think we're running for another lap. We're getting Rick in here mainly because, well, the penalty for one, but also just to see how it goes. It's a bit of a risky one. Yes, Danny, Rick, let's see how you do here. Looks like you might be able to overtake some cars. But yeah, degradation is going to be high for sure. I think we're going to gamble on just getting Tsunoda in now before we have a puncture. Because that's the thing. The main thing, once you hit a certain level of tire wear, are going to be punctures. They're going to be kind of a problem for you. And we see a lot of cars now actually pitting. So I think we're getting to the point where it actually is going to be kind of necessary. So let's see it. Tsunoda is currently running third. Verstappen has pitted as well. Came out ahead of us. But that is fine, honestly. Now with Tsunoda, we could probably run a bit more aggressive. But at the same time, we are going to have to pit again, most likely. So I think we just are going to do that. We're going to run attack for both cars. And we're going to be pitting again, probably around like 46, 47, 48. We'll see. And we'll try and make up for the time lost earlier here. So we'll try and get that done, and we'll see where we end up at the end of this race. as it turns out here, we can't really push our tires because even on aggressive, as you can see here, they just completely evaporate. And the reason for that is actually incredibly simple. It's that these tires don't really work well over 105 degrees. That's when we hit the, you know, severely overheating. So we can't really even go aggressive here. Excuse me. We tried to go attack, but as you can see, they started falling off drastically. And again, this is more than you would expect with attack, even if this shows standard. So yeah, that's going to be a bit bad. So we're going to be pitting slightly earlier than expected here. Paris has already pitted, and degradation is quite high for the rest of the teams too. So we're going to go full attack on both boys for a lap, and we're going to get them both in and put onto a new set of inters. And that should be okay here, because I don't think with this, we aren't going to have any dry running towards the end. Put on a new set of inters, and we're going to probably run these a little bit more carefully, so we don't burn everything to the ground. And we kind of have to. It's going to probably hurt us more if we don't. So we'll see how this pans out for us. Tsunoda is probably going to get overtaken by the Ferraris, but he does have a huge gap to Ocon and Alonso, so he should be safe from them. But Ricky is going to have a huge job ahead of him in terms of getting back up into position. So we'll have to see if we can make that work. It's going to be a little bit difficult, but it is what it is. Also because it's switching between dries and wets a lot, that also doesn't help for tire deg. So yeah, it's a bit of a challenge here, but we can see if we will make it work here now. Potentially Tsunoda, as I said, because we can't run attack, we're probably going to have a hard time catching up to the guys in front. So we'll do our best here, but again, going to be difficult. We'll see how we do. So hopefully can get a few good points, but again, bad races happen, and we'll just have to live with it if it be so. But we still have 16 laps to go here. We'll see where we end up by the end. We only have a few laps to go here, and as you can see, Tsunoda's made it way up to second.
At the moment, it doesn't look like it's raining.
We are going to have some pretty intense stag here, because now it's going to just keep on going down. But at the same time, Rick's made his way up to 5th. We have used a lot of these tires again, compared to the cars around us. But it was kind of necessary. Couldn't really have anything to do with it. We can't even run aggressive here unless going into severe overcooking mode. So, don't really have anything we can do here. We're kind of limited with the attack modes. So this is kind of what you probably would expect from the game with, you know, high temperatures. But it's been kind of, not insane. It's been really intense here on this track in particular. With, as you can see, we're just running standard now. And even then, we are extremely overcooking these tires to the point where we're losing we're losing a lot of deg a lap. And as you see, Stroll is actually punctured. Same for Russell. So if the rain had come 2-3 laps earlier, we could potentially see a lot more punctures and a lot more problems. But yeah, not the best result from one to start, honestly. This is not the best, as I said. And as I said, in future, we're probably going to put them on separate strategies so you don't have a chance of getting crashing into each other. Because that probably did have a huge effect on, well, how this race ended. But at the same time, Rick was a lot behind the rest of the grid here. Good 40 seconds behind Tsunoda. And, well, over a minute behind, well, close to a minute behind Verstappen. So, but again, pretty bad race weekend. So, Rick has had a couple of slow ones. He's still leading, though. So we're looking good on that in that aspect. But Verstappen is coming back at us. So we might have a look here and see if maybe the car isn't as good as we hope for. But again, it's mainly on the tracks where we can't be aggressive on the tires. So I really wish they will add in the future a way to kind of simulate the tire deg, so to speak. That you can make a car that is kinda or, you know, more aggressive on its tires in terms of eating them. And that will decide if you can go aggressive, you know, attack, things like that. Because it would be really, really good if the cars have their own characteristics for that. It will add a little bit more depth, but I think that is probably still a few years / additions out. But yeah, in terms of the pit stop here, Red Bull has caught up with us. So potentially there could be little bit of a threat towards the end of the season. But top 10 here, almost all sub 2-second pit stops. And that is a little bit insane. But yeah, here we are. I think we can be happy with that result. Again, it wasn't the best result, but we can be happy with it. And once again, I forgot about Lawson. We did fail to get fastest lap, which is probably also one of the reasons why I want to put them on alternating strategies, so we can kind of secure that more easily. And we have finished the research here on the side pods. apparently we also failed some inspections, a front wing and a rear wing. So we're probably going to get the manufacturing going for those. No problem at all. We have insufficient car parts to replace, but, well, we have a better rear wing now, so we can just put that on both cars. And we should probably manufacture the front wing, though. So that is okay. A little bit of boost from that new rear wing of ours. Now, we are probably, as I said, just going to do a ton of research this year. I think that is the best way that we have forwards. When it comes to where we want to put our MAO hours, we might use them to say catch up on the sidepod. Because as you can see, the boost that we're getting from just putting, you know, MAO hours and wind tunnel hours into, say, the sidepod here, it's going to be pretty good. But at the same time, I might want to try and put them into, say, our suspension, our chassis, those two. But the sidepod's definitely are not a bad choice. So I'm thinking that we are going to do that for this year. We're not going to be putting them into the underfloor. Not going to be putting them into rear wing. Rear wing might have needed one more to get up to that 80 mark. But at the same time, that is easier to specialize. So I'm thinking that we do sidepod here. We're going to be putting the CFD hours into it. It might not be 100% efficient. There might be a better part to do this. But we do need to use ITR. So this should be a decent upgrade all around for next year. And we'll keep one engineer on it to get the most out of our money. So suspension will be done in 8 days. Front wing will be done in 10. And as I said, the goal this season with the reset is just to kind of cancel out for, I think, the underfloor and rear wing. And for the front wing, we might try and boost a little bit. And the other 3 pieces are definitely going to be to, you know, get their expertise up. Because we have kind of neglected them. We have neglected them. There's no way around that. And again, the cost cap here, we should also have a pretty comfortable time with by doing this. Because it should make it a lot simpler from that perspective as well. Now, we did manufacture a new suspension. It's the older one, because this one, again, is just going to hurt our low speed cornering immensely. So we'll be fine with that. Wind tunnel data concern. Okay, so it's going to slow down the wind tunnel. Sign project for pause for 9 days. Honestly, we'll approve of this investigation. It's fine. We'll need to pause all current car part design projects. So it's just a front wing. Research projects can still run as normal. I don't know if it's going to slow down the research. Sorry, not the research. The side pods here. Yeah, they're under a temporary shutdown. So again, they had a. Apparently, the research does actually hit all of them. I guess I thought the other 2 would be safe, but that's fine. We don't have a, you know, we don't need to get something done in time here. Okay, so car is still the best in cornering, acceleration, DRS. Top speed is still not too bad, but we can live with that. Board loves us as usual. Tsunoda gets a good 3 points there in cornering. He really has been working on that lately, apparently. That's really good. Adaptability, 1 point there for Rick. But yeah, as Tsunoda is currently growing, potentially he is gonna become better than Rick. He will be better in terms of pace now, for sure. So we'll have to see if we can actually get Rick his championship now before Tsunoda becomes kind of king of the crew. Okay, so there's no need to do any gym training this month. Do need to do a little bit of the custom plan here, just to make sure that we get these back up. And I'll go ahead and put together that custom plan, and then we'll see where we're at. Here we are. This is what I opted to go for in terms of training. We're going to be able to minimize our risk chance here by maximizing our pit crew training stats for, well, the aeros. Going to get a little bit more into car building. Again, we are getting very close there to the limit as well. And for the races here, Canada, we're going to be 28, 35, and 41. So we're safe in terms of the average chance too. I could probably put in 1 or 2 more trainings, but honestly, at this point, it's not really something that we need to, you know, min-max too hard, because we are still pretty good. So there is that. And as I said, Merck probably also suffered a bit because we stole their staff. And honestly, we can probably have a look at who they hired as the new technical chief here. So They actually picked up Cadil, so they actually got an upgrade. Okay, that is interesting. How about the head of aerodynamic? Who did they pick up? Dirk the Bear. So they didn't really lose anything staff-wise, so they shouldn't be having this many, this hard of a time, more or less. So Mechis, they also picked up apparently. So yeah, they kind of upgraded their staff, I dare say. Well, they had one slight downgrade, but at the same time, most of them were upgrades, so they shouldn't be having too rough of a time here, I think. But that is just how it be. Toll Center has been upgraded to level 5, and again, this is going to take a few seasons to pay off. And even then, with the refurbishing, it's going to take even longer. But we're doing that because I want to test it, see how it actually pans out in terms of the refurbishing costs. Research complete, suspension. Apparently we were allowed to continue on the research, I think. And we're not allowed to start a new project. Okay, that's fine. We can wait for those 9 days, that should be okay. And with that, let's just have a little bit of a look here, because again, it takes some time to get these updated. And oh yeah, it's just side pods and chassis this year around. Sorry, I forgot. I had this confused for a different save. I probably should have. Well, we did put into the side pods. That's fine. We're probably gonna save the next ATR period to put into the chassis. So that's on me. I got confused here. Let's just be honest here. I got confused what the regulatory changes were. I thought they were 5% across the board. That's the negative of having multiple saves. You can get you can't get confused like that. But yeah, I thought they were 5% across the board. It's actually a 10% for side pods and 30% for chassis. So that should make our life a little bit easier in terms of dealing with this. So we'll do a lot of chassis research coming forwards, because as you can see here, probably gonna need to run this project a good 10 times to make up for what we're losing. But that should be a ton of engine cooling for next year. So that is good here. So the wind tunnel problem has been resolved. Did indeed discover a fault that could have escalated. So basically we solved the problem before it actually began. However, because of the fact that they need to take over, I believe, we still need to wait one more day before we can do no new projects. Reloading the save might work in terms of that, but you should, as you can see there, we just still need to wait a little bit longer before we're allowed to start doing projects again. So I think it needs to do this day as well before you're allowed to. 2 drivers in top 8 should be doable. Both drivers into Q3 should be doable. And with that, let's jump into Canada and let's see how we do there. So not the best of qualies here in Canada. We had a bit of an interesting one where the first quali was dry. Well, it started raining towards the end. Then we had inters, and then we had full wets for Q3. So again, not the best quali. Didn't pan out in our advantage here, but then again, we're just a 10th behind first place. That's fine for that. Rick, a 10th, well, 2 tenths behind Tsunoda again. So, again, not the best quality we've ever had. But I still think we will have a chance there for the race to make up for that, probably. It's going to be a dry race. And we could do a little bit more experimenting here with the tire compounds. The performance here, as you can see, the medium to hard is virtually, it's not a lot of difference there, just a 10th. So if you're running aggressive or attack, hard is probably going to be way better than the mediums. Just as a note there. And because the degradation between soft to hard is just 300s, the softs will probably be good here for 15 to 20 laps before they start losing out to the hards. So with a 70 lap race, that is actually pretty good. So we might try something like soft, hard, soft, which would be kind of funny. Let's see if we can actually make that work, because as you can see, you can go in the hards, you can make them last forever. And I think that could be a bit of an interesting one to try and pull it. So we're going to pull this off there, go a little bit aggressive with that. And as you can see, even with full attack, this will work out just fine. And as I said, because of degradation here, I don't think the medium is going to be better than the hard at all. So this is probably the best thing that we can hope for. 128. And it's almost a full minute, well, 40 seconds really, faster than the other two. So it's basically this one, but, tuned into full attack mode. And we're going to do that for both, I think. But again, we don't really want to, because it's dangerous to have both our drivers on the same strategy. But they are starting kind of far away from each other for this one, so maybe it'll be okay. Again, I did say that I wanted to experiment with running them on different strategies. But in this case, I'm going to not do it for this race because, well, they are starting far away from each other. And I think this is probably going to be the best strategy, honestly. So we're just going to go ahead and give them the same strategy in this case. And if they do actually get close to each other, we might just force one to run slower so they get a couple of seconds behind. just to keep our boys safe. Because again, that is the main concern here. Crashing. And mainly,
70 laps of the
because we are
Canadian
so
Grand
quick
Prix
this time
are
around,
waiting.
this season,
The drivers
the main
are ready
problem is going to be
and
crashing
raring
into
to
each
go.
other.
It's the
So
Canadian Grand Prix.
we will take that into consideration on how we
It's
do our
lights
strategies.
out, and away we go.
Lights out and away we go indeed. Rick already going a little bit aggressive there against Perez. Could get him hit the inside. And everyone here is actually running the exact same tire. So everyone on the soft and everyone being very, very aggressive. Now, Sonoda is actually kind of falling back. We have a safety car already. What exactly happened here?
Let's have a look then at turn 6. Cutting it so close. And
Running into the back of the
cars
Williams,
make contact.
and
I wouldn't be surprised if there were a few words exchanged when they get back to the...
I'm surprised that they only took out 2 cars there. That looked like they were going to take out the other Alpine as well. For sure. But yeah, that is an interesting start to the race. We have a safety car immediately. Luckily,
Safety car, safety car.
luckily,
Okay,
both
take
the
out
cars that
reference.
kind of lost confidence there kind of took out each other. So hopefully
So you
we'll be
keep
safe.
working on your brake temperatures, straight line
But
braking.
who knows? It might not be great. Because it did look like the other Alpine of Gasly did get touched there. So what I'd like to see here is that they add to this thing. Not only lap history, but also basically what should I call it? A confidence history. We can judge just how the other drivers are doing. But yeah, this should give us a lot of extra fuel. We're going to be pushing basically to the end of the race at this.
Safety car in this
We
lap.
have everything as it be. I don't think we're going to tune up the aggressiveness just yet, because that seemed to be risky. But for now, it seems like we are just going to have a pretty clean restart. Everything's looking good. And again, we're just going to kind of take it easy now until we get to that hard stint. So we might extend this soft stint slightly because of that safety car. But honestly, it's looking promising. We'll just stay where we are. We'll try and make our way a little bit further up, of course, but it's not something that is going to be a hugely, a huge focus for us. So we'll try and make our way up the grid while we get ready for that hard stint. We are getting very close to our pit window here. As you can see, we basically have the optimum pit stop lap. But as said, we're going to stretch it by a lap or two. Tsunoda is running a little bit ahead of Rick here. Had a couple seconds to Verstappen because they have the RS trying to off each other back and forth, they've kind of been closing him down again. So what I'm thinking that we're going to do here is actually get Tsunoda in this lap. It's a tad bit early, honestly, but I think it's safer. Just get him in, put him on a new set of tires, and we'll do the same for Danny Rick next lap. And we'll tune down the fuel usage here. And we'll just keep them on the hards then. Now, Tsunoda actually comes out in a little bit of traffic here, but again, that should be fine. Russell and Alonso should be probably easily, dealt with DRS. I don't think we are going to have too much trouble there. Once Tsunoda gets these tires warmed up, and then he can, as I said, move to the attack. Because again, the degradation here is pretty high, but again, we are having a little bit of problem here with Rick and Tsunoda potentially, running a little bit too close to each other. It is a little bit dangerous, so once we get by these boys, we are probably going to tune them down both in overtaking aggressiveness and also in defensive aggressiveness so that they don't, as I said, take each other out. Because that seems to be a bit of a concern right now when they are mostly running together. They were running a little bit less together last season, so to speak. And as a result, we were a lot safer then. But it seems like we're going to have probably this season a lot more problems of, as I said, Rick and Tsunoda potentially taking each other out. So we're just going to do this to lower the risk of that. And for Rick too, both of them do have peak confidence. But again, as long as they run together, we don't want them to, again, take each other out. So as long as they're just nice to each other, that should be fine. And should also help us catch up to Perez, Sainz, Verstappen. Red flag now. That is bad for us.
Red flag.
What happened?
I'm sorry about that, guys.
Is that really a red flag? I understand the car is kind of in a very compromising position because it's a corner. But that really puts us in a bad position here. Now, what we could do, we could just stay on these hards, honestly. It's fine. But it's a bit of a shame. We did lose out there because of this. But what I'm going to be expecting now is everyone to actually go on the hards anyways. So the better option probably would have been to go on the softs. Yeah.
We'll continue this race.
The better option here, now that they had a little bit of thinking, would probably be been going on the softs. And, you know, made a bit of a gap here from the get-go. Now with this, however, we are going to be going up on medium and neutral. We are, of course, going to be losing that peak confidence as well, unfortunately. But it is what it is. And we will be pushing to deploy the ERS, of course. Try and make up as many places as we can. We are going to just do this in normally now. And then just do softs towards the end. So if we can get, you know, buy these cars quickly, that would benefit us greatly. But of course, that's going to be probably a little bit of a challenge here. But we'll do our best, and we'll see where we're at the end of this hard stint of ours. We've had another incident here with signs, apparently.
But we don't know where.
So, I don't know exactly what happened here. We'll have a look. Looks like the Red Bull hit the back of the Ferrari, maybe? That did benefit us greatly, though, to be fair. With Tsunoda now running along with Paris. Unfortunately, Rick has kinda lost out here. He was running fourth and got overtaken by the Ferraris. Well, one Ferrari, and that did kind of put us into a compromised position here now. But we'll try and do our best. Luckily now we're also in a position where, again, our boys can't take each other out. Because there has been a lot of accidents there, and the Verstappen is going to be dangerous, Sainz is going to be dangerous going forward, so we want to get as far away from both of those as possible, which kind of sounds like, you know, maybe a little bit of, maybe a little bit extreme, but they are going to be dangerous now in terms of they could very easily take us out because of the low confidence. Now for Rick here, it's looking good too. We should be able to just make our way up. Verstappen has gone into soft tie. I don't think he'll be able to make those last to the end. If so, they're going to be basically paced. So he's probably going to be pitting again for sure. Now, with Rick here, I'm thinking that we actually are going to harvest. We're just going to stay in front. We're going to harvest, and then we're going to try and pull away from Leclerc and Alonso. Because that would give us, well, safer running conditions. Of course, it's also going to be easier for when we do actually end up pitting. But for now, though, we will continue again until we get to the pit stops. And we'll see where we're at once we get to those. Although, as I said, we have been overtaken, but we'll probably recharge switch positions for a lap or two more. We'll see where we're at in a few laps' time. We've had yet another incident. This time, Gasly has been involved.
Now what's happened?
I don't know exactly what has happened yet. Let's have a look. Touched him on the back there, just slightly into the rears. But this is starting to become dangerous now in terms of, well, how many ticking time bombs are running around the track here. Verstappen is running by himself, Sainz is running by himself, Gas is running by himself. The two Alphas here could potentially take each other out if we're unlucky. So yeah, we'll have to see what we do in terms of pitting. We're getting very close to that pit stop, and the degradation has been that high here. So potentially we could stretch these tires a little bit longer. Because again, we aren't really losing out. We're running around the same lap times as everyone else. Well, in this case, Paris. So it's not bad, but we'll have to see exactly what we do in terms of, as I said, when we do pit for that soft stint. Potentially here, these could actually last to the end as well. But I think it's just going to be better for us if we do pit, as I said, onto the softs. For Rick here, it might not be the best thing ever because he's going to be pitting into traffic. Probably going to come out ahead of Magnussen just barely. So we'll have to see exactly what we do with him. But for now, just running him for a few more laps should be good. Just also to get, as I said, the pit stop a little bit easier. So we're probably going to stretch these by 2-3 laps. And then we'll pit. So we'll see where we're at once we get to that point. So we have a little bit of a problem here with Tsunoda. He has lost, well, he has entered into the minor gearbox damage phase, so to speak. Gearbox is below 40%. So we'll see exactly, as I said, what we do here. I think that we are going to be pitting both of them this lap. They should be a lot quicker. They should be more than capable of running full attack to the end. So I think it's going to be worth it in terms of just, you know, getting things done. Of course, we could keep Tsunoda out and have him just stay out there with Perez. It should probably be better. But again, Perez is starting to get a little bit of more of an advantage on those softs. Sorry, on those hards. And as you can see, these guys are all going to be staying on these hards till the end of the race for sure. So let's see where Tsunoda comes out. Should come out hopefully ahead of these guys. And he did. Rick comes out behind. But again, he still has fresh air. Tsunoda has fresh air. We can do a little bit here now in terms of, you know, making our way back up. I don't think it'll be too problematic. Particularly for Tsunoda, who doesn't really have any DRS trains that he needs to get through here. So as soon as he gets DRS of Alonso, it should just fly by him. And if we just give him deploy here, I think that is also just going to be enough for him to, as you can see, get by. Rick is not having a good time. He actually got overtaken by Albon. So, yeah, Rick is having a bit of a mare here. So we'll see how this goes. Rick, as I said, Rick has been kind of slower in the pace. I've been feeling today on the races. He hasn't really been keeping up with Tsunoda. So it could be, you know, driver skill degradation, but that we kind of make up for it in the races. But it's kind of hard to estimate, honestly. But we'll try and get Rick up through the gaps here. We'll try and get Tsunoda up through the gaps as well. Shouldn't be too difficult, honestly. And yeah, I think we'll be able to pull that off. The only question will be if again, Tsunoda should get Perez unless we have accidents. The only question will be how high can Rick get up with his current situation. Rick is back up in the podium places. Tsunoda is running first, but he does have Perez kind of in the DRS zone there. So we're gonna just push a little bit more here. We're just gonna push everything that we have to try and, you know, get him out of that. We also do have Verstappen here, but looks like we safely got by, which honestly was a bit of a concern of mine. Now for Rick here, he's also going to have to, you know, get by as well. He is 7 seconds behind Perez. He is running about a second quicker right now. Probably won't have the laps to get this done. It's going to be the main concern. But at least we're getting potentially on the podium places here. But we'll see what we can do. So Tsunoda now pulling quite aggressively away from the cars in front. And again, we are running everything on neutral here, so we should be fine, hopefully. Could, of course, tune Tsunoda down a little bit so that when he gets through these back markers like Gasly, we can take a little bit slower to be safe. But I think we'll be okay. The main concern being potentially the fuel of Rick. But right now, with 3 seconds behind, I think what we're going to do is just use all of our ERS. And as you can see that we actually had DRS there from Verstappen. So Verstappen kind of helping us hunt down Perez here, which is kind of funny to me, but at the same time, shouldn't probably laugh. But however, with Rick now in DRS, got a little bit of health there. I think we are basically caught up here. Fast lap 113.4. And as you can see there, we're getting 2.5 seconds on that last lap. So what we are going to do is just harvest. We're going to conserve a little bit. Could probably just stayed with Perez for that, but we do need to do that, and then we will just pull out of range on probably this or the next lap, honestly. There we go. Now, once again, we do have the back markers to worry about, and again, there is one of these that is going to be dangerous. Gas is potentially dangerous, and again, I might be overselling kind of just how dangerous it is, but the amount of times that I've seen a back marker just kind of whack someone while they're getting lapped is a little bit too many for my, you know, for my personal taste. But it looks like we made this work. Tsunoda's gonna most likely win, and he did. Rick is gonna come in second, but with fastest lap. So honestly, good result here for us. Verstappen, unfortunately, not getting any points. That should help our championship charge quite a bit. So we'll take that. 1-2. Now, I don't actually know who's going to win the championship. Early on, of course, it looked like Rick was going to have a huge, you know, advantage. But right now, it looks like Tsunoda might be the best contender. But we'll see once we get close to the end. We might just give Rick this championship. Be a bit kind. And also, we'll give Tsunoda the second one. And then we'll see where we go from there. But we'll see, as I said. For now, though, Rick is still leading. 15 points down to Tsunoda. So everything can still happen. Tsunoda with one more race win, more pole positions. So it's getting a little bit interesting there. Verstappen retains. Perez is fourth. Again, Russell changed his place with Hamilton. They both have equal points now. But they have been scoring more points in these last couple of races. That is good for Merc, at least. We have a pretty healthy lead. Well, we have an even more healthy lead now, so can't really complain on that aspect either. And we did get the 2 quickest pit stop because, well, there weren't really any pit stops because of the red flag. And McLaren gets some points here for free, so yeah, we'll take that, honestly. And our pit stops were good. So considering that we did pit stops, that red flag, everything, I'd say that was a pretty good one. I did forget about Lawson again. I really should just get a post-it note. And I don't understand how we did not get fastest lap here. But okay. I'm pretty sure Rick had fastest lap, so... there's some weird bug going on there. That is kind of silly. I guess it counts... Again, this is probably how it works, but it would be stupid. It probably counts the fastest lap from before the red flag. I mean, you need to set an early fast lap to be safe to get that, which, again, is kind of silly. Suspension sim has been upgraded, which is honestly pretty good for us. Again, it will help the suspension, the brake cooling in particular. I think what we're going to do is probably upgrade the design center a little bit here. It is losing out. It is going to cost us quite a bit more in yearly fees here. Basically 32 plus 37, so 67,000 times 12. So about 850,000 extra to the cost cap, almost $1 million. But I think it is time to start focusing a little bit more towards the design center as well. We have the money right now because we're running, as I said, just basic ones. So we'll do the design center, then we'll do car pass again, and we'll kind of just do them on rotation, I think. Of course, some of these might really still be worth it, so don't sell them short, but for me, this just works out. The weather center here, we probably can upgrade again. The test has kind of proven that you will miss when the rain starts, but you will know how much rain. And that is the important part here, because last year's game wouldn't tell you that. It would tell you, oh, it's going to be rain. And then what you'd expect to be inters was actually full 8mm wets. It's a drastic one, but that is how inaccurate it was at the lowest level. But this year's is much more reliable. Weather center is basically now we know about how much rain we're going to get. Not exactly, but pretty close to it. But we just don't know when it's going to start. So I'll take that trade-off. It's actually pretty good. Failed underfloor, failed sidepod, failed front wing. So we're going to have to replace those. And after that, I think we are probably going to have to call this episode. Now, as I said, this one is going to be a little bit shorter because, well, I kind of overslept. Well, not really. I woke up late rather than oversleeping. It's a Sunday. And I wasn't completely done with this episode last night. So, as a result, a bit of a late one here. But it is what it is. I will not be streaming today. Mainly because, well, I need to prep a few things for going back to work tomorrow. And I also like to, as I said, because I'm going back to work, I'm going to be focusing on making a few videos so that we have some content in this coming week. But I might stream on Monday. I'll have to see. It'll be a little bit later than usual because work, so I will be home until like an hour after I usually start streaming. So the stream will probably start, potentially, if I do stream, an hour later. But I'll let you know, probably sometime tonight, if I do stream tomorrow or the day after. But on Wednesday, I will be streaming a shorter work day. So Wednesday will probably be a stream for sure. But yeah, for now, this is going to be the end of this episode. Again, thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed. And again, I appreciate all of you for watching because I enjoy making these. And the more people watch, the more fun it is. So yeah, please like, subscribe. It helps me out a ton. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.